This is the Jeanneau DB43, the first in the new DB line that will eventually spring off smaller and larger models. The boat was designed by Garroni, who designed boats for Jeanneau before, as well as Prestige, and the hull is by Michael Peters. Prices start from €660,000 excluding VAT, but this boat, to this spec as you see it here, is just shy of €915,000. I have to say, the looks are growing on me. When I first saw it, especially with the platforms down, I thought it looked a little bit short, a bit stubby, and a bit top heavy. But actually out on the water with the platforms up, it does look really smart. And I really like the silver paint. That is an option. It comes in white as standard, but the silver is a nice option to have, especially in this sun where it really picks up the sunlight and shines away when you're out on the water. You can probably tell from this angle just how much freeboard there is. It's a tall boat, and that's because there was, as well as obviously the deck spaces, a big focus on interior volume. They wanted this to be more than just a day boat. They want it to be a comfortable weekender, if not more than that. But we'll get into that when we get on board. Let's start on deck, obviously. And now this is a hydraulic bathing platform. Weight capacity is 150 kilograms, so you could put a small tender on there and launch it on and off the platform. There is actually a small storage unit. If we lift this up, this is obviously a way to keep the ports for the shore power tidy. There's a button here, and this whole section lifts up. Not big enough to store a tender in, but you could get a sea bob in there. So it's got the life raft in it at the moment, but just a really useful, easily accessed boot almost, where you can chuck a load of kit and know it's safely stored away. This ladder incidentally slots in on the bathing platform and on the balconies, but we'll look at that properly later on. Just put this back down again. And there's actually even more useful storage underneath here. On a couple of gas rams, as you can see, these are poles that you can slot in to the platforms, so you can rope them off if you've got kids on board, but you can chuck a couple of fenders here. The ropes are in here as well. It's just another really useful space to have some storage, and it just easily flips down with these cushions. Big sun pad back here. Nice that you've got big deep cup holders set into the cushions themselves. The platforms are obviously going to grab some attention. You've got them on both sides, and they are controlled from this button here, and then they just lock in place when they're up. But they really do extend the usable space of this cockpit, and it's a very flexible cockpit too. This aft sun pad has a two-way backrest, so if you put it this way, it creates a bench that faces the dinette. And then this one also has a two-way backrest. This is in dining mode, but you can actually slide the whole bench aft. You can see there's the slots that you lock the pins into, and then you can put the backrest this way, and then you have a forward-facing bench for 4 more people. As you can see, there's a handhold here for them to hold on to. So as well as the 3 forward-facing seats at the helm, you have another 4 well-protected, comfortable seats for when the boat's moving along. Now this huge teak table is actually double hinged, so it opens out that way, and it also hinges over this way. So depending on what you're doing with the seating and the backrest, you can move the table to suit however you have it laid out. There's storage underneath all of these units as well. There's a little latch there, and there's storage under both of these sections, so deck storage is impressive here in the cockpit. The other thing to mention is it's got the little aft canopy on at the moment, but you can fully enclose this entire cockpit with canopies. So this encloses, there's a cover that goes down to the aft end of the transom, and you can actually cover these areas as well. So you can fully enclose this boat with covers if you're using it in weather that isn't as good as this. And it's a key part of the DB style, this sort of semi-enclosed cockpit. Even though it looks very open, it's actually got a good amount of protection. You've got a full fiberglass sunroof overhead, got glass panels in the roof as well. Life on deck is really good on this boat, and you can't help but notice this enormous galley unit that you have here right in the middle of the cockpit. And the point is that it faces the socialite area, so instead of sort of cooking, preparing food with your back to your guests, you're facing them and you can be part of the action. But it's a really good setup. You've got a hot plate, got a gas hob, nice deep sink, and then you've got storage bin, 2 fridges. It's a really comprehensive galley arrangement. Bit of storage up here as well. So really this is the entertaining heart of the boat. Works really nicely. Another thing I like is the fact that you've got a boarding gate. So if you're using the boat on your own, you can be quickly away from the helm, open this gate, and you're out onto the pontoon, which works really nicely. We'll talk more about the helm later on, but let's keep going forward. Now this is where you really feel the height of the boat. You really step up onto this foredeck, and the guardrails are quite low. They're only at my sort of knee level, so you feel a little bit vulnerable up here if the boat's rolling around. That said, it is a nice space when you're up here. This looks like a sun pad, but actually it's also got ratcheting backs, so you can put these in a variety of different positions and create a little bench here, which works well because this is a little dip here, so you can put your feet in here. You stand a bit lower in this section, and like in the cockpit, you've got pop-up lights as well, so you have a bit of ambient light if you're using this area in the evening. This is a slot for a table too, so you can put a table up here. Again, just makes it a bit more of a socialising area. And then really good anchor locker. Fires open on a gas ram. It's really deep. You can see you've got all the boat's fenders in there and still some room to spare, and it's separated from the chain locker, so you know that none of these fender lines are going to get pulled up into the anchor winch. I also like the fact that they've got this little rail here, so you can tie off your lines and they don't go into the depths of the locker. Really clever stuff. Should also mention that there's poppers here. That's for cushions, so you can either perch on them or you can sit, put your feet up. That's a really nice spot if the boat's moving along at displacement speed or is stationary. So we head back down. The decks are symmetrical, so it's the same both sides. Really good helm station. Feels very well protected because you've got these proper side screens. Nice big windscreen. 3 helm seats, slide adjustable, lift bolster as well, so you can stand or sit very comfortable at the helm station. It's quite a simple dash arrangement, all finished in dark material, so there isn't too much glare. And you've got this wooden footrest, but you've also got these drop down footrests, which means you can stand and put your head over the windscreen if you want to. Overall, it's a really attractive looking helm. These slightly cheap feeling vents let it down a little bit, but it's all very simple, easy to use, and I like this new switch gear that Jeanneau are using. Looks and feels really smart. On this side you have the other navigator's seat, again has a footrest, and this also has a flip down section as well. You have a nice couple of deep cup holders, and then just a bit of covered storage here to put loose items. So that's the exterior. Let's have a look inside. I think it's the accommodation that really sets this boat apart. In the sector, Jeanneau have really thought about how people might live on board this boat. So, for example, you've actually got a little galley down here as well, not just on deck. It's a small sink, storage under here, a really good size oven, well, a microwave oven, storage up here, and a bit more eye level storage up here. Now if you don't want that, you can have another bathroom. In this formation you have one bathroom that's shared between the 2 cabins, but it'd be nice if you're going to have people to stay regularly to have the separate bathroom, so guests have a bit more privacy and you don't have to share your bathroom with them. Now for me this is the master cabin forward, and I'll explain why when we go and see the midship's cabin. But this is a really nice space. Headroom is good. Plenty of space above my head. I'm 6'1". The bed is set quite low, but again that means you can sit up in bed comfortably. Good amount of natural light in here as well. We've actually got the cushions on the bow as you saw, so with the cushion lifted off you'd have even more natural light coming down in here, but you have got nice big windows. You see we've got the blinds down on this side, but there's even a bit of glass forward as well, so natural light is good in here. Good amount of space at the end of the bed to get changed, and I have a good full height hanging locker here on the port side, and there's various bits of storage alongside the bed where you can put mobile phones, glasses, etc. And there's a little perch down here as well, somewhere just to sit and put shoes and socks on, and there's a little bit more storage in this very dinky little bureau that they've managed to work into this area here, and this bulkhead is also home to the television. Now on this boat, this is the only bathroom. If you have the second bathroom, you lose this door here, so you have total privacy, but this is a really good space. Full standing separate shower cubicle, toilet obviously, nice deep sink, and then a bit more storage underneath the sink. Again, it's very bright because the window extends all the way back, and good to see 2 opening ports as well, so you can let the steam out if you are having a shower. If we go back this way, we will go to the midships cabin, which Jeanneau might call the master, but in my opinion I think the forward one would be the master because of the levels of headroom. So this is about as much as I can stand up in here. It really is crouching room only. There's a little sofa that you can sit on, but even then, sitting on the sofa, headroom is pretty tight. And the berth is a good size. That's a really nice size, and there's enough space at the end of the bed that the person on the inside, well, the outside of the boat, the inside of the bed, can then get out without disturbing the person sleeping on this side. But yeah, headroom is not great in here. You've got a television in here as well. You've got storage on both sides, though it isn't full height, obviously, like the one in the forward cabin. There's a little bit of storage down in the bedside table. But yeah, I think if you were living on this boat as the owner for extended periods of time, you'd certainly be using the forward cabin just because of the amount of space. Last but not least, engine room access. If we lift that hatch up, just slide the bench all the way forward to get access. But once you do, actually access is pretty good. There's a ladder here, which I'll step down and we can have a proper look inside. Now, it's not the most spacious engine room that I've ever been inside. Getting to daily service items is easy enough because they're all got a groups here in the middle. You've got the raw water strainer, dipsticks on both sides. But any more involved work, especially anything towards the back of the engine or anything to do with the stern drive system in here, is going to be quite difficult because there is not a huge amount of space. This intrusion is that storage boot that we looked at earlier, and that just restricts the amount of space under the engines. There's a bit more space outboard, so you can move around the sides relatively easily. You got the generator tucked right down here as you come down the entranceway, and there is also the option to have a Seakeeper 3 on this boat. This particular boat doesn't have it fitted, but that is an option if you want it. So yeah, day-to-day checks good enough, but any more involved work down here could be a bit of a pain. Well, that's the tour of the boat. Now it's time to see what it's like out on the water. So it's quite a busy press sea trial, so it's a bit slash and grab. So it's quite a busy boat. There's a bit of background noise, so I'll give you as much as I can in the short time we have. Now from launch, the boat is available with 2 sets of engine options, triple 350 horsepower outboards, or what this boat has got, twin Volvo Penta D6 380 horsepower diesels on stern drives. Normal low conditions, top speed, I think 34 knots. We've had a little bit less than that today because we've got a boat full of people, it's full of fuel, it's full of water, but 32, 33 knots has been absolutely no problem. What you find is it settles into a really comfortable 25 knot cruise. That boat feels really happy, the engines melt into the background a bit, nice natural running balance, and at that speed you're looking at a range of approximately 200 nautical miles. The conditions are actually very kind today, but yesterday was much choppier than this, and considering how tall the bow is, the fullness of the bow and all the superstructure, I thought there might be a bit more slamming and crashing going into the shop. But Michael Peters has done a fantastic job with this hull. So I found if I overrode the trim assist and just tucked the legs in and got the sharpest part of the bow cutting through the water, it handled it really well indeed, and the same downwind. Very dry ride as well, and of course being on stern drives, the handling is excellent. It's really approachable, the steering is nicely weighted, it tracks nicely in a straight line, but if you do want to do some twists and turns, it's nice and light, and there's just lots and lots of grip. It's a very friendly boat to drive quickly. And even though it's obviously very open, you have good protection in this helm as well. You've got these proper side screens, you've got a nice deep windscreen as well. Of course you can shut the sunroof and really protect yourself So that's the Jeanneau DB43. I do hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please give the video a like. And remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you're notified every time we upload a new video. I'll see you on the next one.